they were smart enough to show as much of the Erica Laniak cake scene as they could, while not being a Red Band trailer. Well, this brings back memories for a lot of people because how imprecise rewinding or pausing moments with YouTube right there is like old school VHS where trying to go and rewind or fast forward in like the exact way was, a crapshoot. It was like, a rollerblading downhill, and down the hill is covered in butter. And well, this is still very nice, even with the poor picture resolution of this upload that, Warner Brothers, hence the WB watermark in the trailer right there. And PVFS says, yeah, my VCR thankfully had the slow mode that would work with either mode. Well, that's good. And of course, also, if you were really rich, I can imagine this would be one of those movies where before the DVD format came, this was the movies like this or Basic Instinct or, anything Jennifer Connelly did in the 90s or Species were definitely the movie that's what inspired people to go and, adopt the notion that the way of the future was Laserdisc. As the fast forward and the rewind. And of course, also don't forget about Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I remember the Bravo did a countdown special of the 100 funniest movies. And of course, Fast Times at Ridgemont High was put up in there. And they got the director, Amy Heckerling, to say about how she went into a video store one day. And one of the employees there said, we have so many problems with the tapes of your movie. And they explained because of what happens with everybody always pausing or rewinding or rewinding again and going frame by frame or pausing for long periods of Phoebe Cates' bikini scene. Doing that, it stretches the tape. So our copies of your movie always wind up being so worn out so easily and wind up with like tracking and audio issues when it comes to Phoebe Cates popping out of the water and, unclasping her bra, just like Sharon Stone uncrossing her legs, or Erica Laniak showing her breasts, or, like I said, every other movie Jennifer Connelly did in the 90s where she was, popping them out. I bet a lot of tapes was messed up from all the slow-mo, especially Species. Don't forget about that one, too. I mean, come on. I'd like to go and, meet people, do, a man-on-the-street thing and ask them, for those who bought the Laserdisc format, was your inspiration for buying the Laserdisc and getting movies on Laserdisc, was it inspired by wanting to go and see Under Siege or Basic Instinct or The Hot Spot or Species or Fast Times without having to deal with the tape wearing out? And Pumafist says here, when I worked at Blockbuster back in 1994, we used to get tapes back that had worn out spots. Caligula was a big culprit. Oh, yes. Maybe there's a reason Caligula was the biggest selling tape that Penthouse ever produced. Well, milady, it's funny because it's true. And Pumafist says, we also used to have people accidentally return porn. I remember one time a lady was returning a copy of Beverly Hills Ninja. When I opened the case to check, it was a production called Filthy Fuckers. That's one of the reasons why I'm frustrated that Family Video shut down permanently before I ever got to go there. Because when I moved out here, Family Video was that one big video store chain that somehow kept on going even after, the advent of Netflix and the collapse of Blockbuster. And it was COVID lockdowns that led to Family Video shutting down business in January 2021. COVID took away Family Video from us. And I always was curious to see, hey, a video store chain that's still going. I always wanted to go inside and, just for the experience to rent from them. But now I'll never get that opportunity. One of the, lesser but still unforgivable examples of what we let COVID take away from us. Something else to blame the Chinese government for. Errol's used to be the video rental store before Blockbuster in Virginia. Yeah, well, that's a lot of former video store, like either smaller chains or like mom and pop stores did get muscled out of their business by Blockbuster, who were very ruthless in their expansion like that. So the rise of Netflix and the collapse of Blockbuster and Family Video, chugging along like that, and it took literally a global pandemic to shut down Family Video. Is Blockbuster getting what they fucking deserve for shutting down family places like Errol's? Although Hollywood Video also was a good competitor, and they were a big chain too. And I remember going to, Hollywood Video here and there, and it was all right. And the PVSFS says, we never had a Blockbuster, we only had Hollywood Video. Well, okay. Wherever that was, but then again, hey, that meant you never had to deal with, also, I used to rent my videos from the grocery store and the library. Well, I remember Nick told me about how he used to rent movies from Kroger, that Kroger you could rent movies from, and where I was in Northern Virginia, up up there in the late 90s and all that, I remember Giant had, like, you could rent movies from them. And also, being in the, my mom being in the Army, like, there was the shop at there that was on base that you could rent movies from, you could rent tapes from. And I remember there they had a poster for the hotspot. And also from libraries, yes, I would also rent movies from the local library as well. And my local library still actually does, they still rent VHS tapes. I miss them too. I mean, that's why, that was a nice thing about when I went up to visit my sister in Chicago, and we went to see Eraserhead at the Music Box Theater they have up there. And right next to the Music Box Theater is this store called TerrorVision. And they actually do rent the old style VHS tapes. That was the first place I ever saw a physical copy of the movie Hardware, which I've been hearing about for years, have wanted to see, but I've never seen. And also they had like an original VHS edition of Dawn of the Dead, as well as a Zombie. You'd think that we'd have that stuff for a mid-sized city, but we didn't even get Taco Bell until 93 or so. And Forever says, man, I was 13 years old saving up to buy tapes for birthday money, any money I could get my hands on. I got my first off-books job at 13, painting a church in the summer. Most of my money went to movie tapes. Did it involve the renting of movies like Species or Mulholland Falls, where Jennifer Connelly has multiple sex scenes? Although in that one, she's having sex scenes with John Malkovich and Nick Nolte. So maybe if, like, you closed one eye, or like you put your hand up to the screen so that you just see her and not Nick Nolte or John Malkovich. And PVFS, my local library also has DVDs, but they still have VHS tapes available as well. And PVFS did buy some tapes from the library when they were upgrading. I missed getting a beta copy of Ghostbusters. Well, I can imagine in any condition, so long as it's not like shattered and the box isn't ripped up, that you could go and probably, resell like a Betamax of Ghostbusters for a big, good price on eBay. And yes, a few years later, Forever did go and get, the Hotspot and Basic Instinct and Species and Under Siege right here. And well, there probably were a lot of people where, the library tapes were the go-to. I mean, even if you weren't, poor or whatever, you still, unless like your local location was really far away, yeah, it made sense. So until then, I want to thank you all for watching. Subscribe to the channel, hits 10,000 subs, become a member today, and shop at my art store with the first link in the description, where you can buy my art, or you can commission me, or you can support me with a donation, or you can go and order issue 3 of my comic book Encrypted, where a regular copy is $5, an autographed copy is $10, an autographed and sketched in copy is $20, or you can get a 1-year subscription for $60, or 1-year subscription with your copies autographed for $20. So tomorrow I'll have shorts at 5 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 and 6. I'll have a new video at 6:30, and I'll be live again at 10 to paint the USS Missouri you see right here. So until then, felines, slam it, lick it, suck it, and see you, Space Cowboy.